Welcome back to Slide 2. This is part 25, and we're finally starting on episode 7. Notably, he's not the villain of this episode, but rather, old zombie son here. Yeah, let's finish things with this guy now. You know the drill by now.
Things just weren't right up in Canada. Random acts of violence were popping up like weeds, and the Northern Lights, well, they just weren't right. One night they'd be brighter than ever, and the next, gone. In Nunavut Bay, I overheard talk between Jean Besson and his mysterious partner Arpeggio. Somehow, those two are behind it all. Tracking the source of the disturbance was easy. By simply following the lights, we were led north to an immense lumber camp. The sheer number of fallen trees advertised Jean Besson's presence and that he was in possession of the clockwork talons. The Thieves raccoonist makes numerous references to the talons slicing through plates of steel. A skilled lumberjack like Besson could clear a forest in hours while wielding the artifacts. Those talons have got to go, both to finally do away with clockwork and to save the environment from his twisted sense of progress. The world just doesn't need to make space for another strip mall.
Now here we are, the lumber camp. We're still in a much brighter and happier place than the previous few episodes, but this is not nearly as comfy as the train station was in the last episode. Things are a lot more dangerous now, and things are more tense now.
Okay, so here's what we know. 1, Arpeggio's blip is on its way to pick up a battery from Jean Besson. And 2, the only way we'll get a crack at Arpeggio's clockwork brain is by finding a way to sneak aboard his blip.
But before we do that, we'll need to snag the clockwork talons off Jean Besson. Time is short and we've got a lot to accomplish.
True, but first things first. This lumber camp isn't on any of my maps. I need you to poke around and take some recon photos. They'll help to get my sensors oriented.
No problem. Recon photos I got covered.
In anticipation of the icy climate, I took the liberty of modifying your cane. It can now separate into 2 smaller canes, useful for ice climbing. Try ascending to the top of that sheet of ice. Just jump and hit the circle button to dig in.
Oh, we got another upgrade here, on the gadget grid, of course. Also, I'm going to show off the gadget that I just bought alongside the Time Rush, which has been sitting there since the beginning of the game. Never found a use for it though, so here we are. Thief reflexes. You might recognize both of these from Sly 1. You know, those time manipulation power-ups you could get. Sadly, Sly's time-stopping ability is not present in this game. So, I mean, it would have been busted, so I can understand why they wouldn't just let you have it from the get-go, and especially as Sly. But still, they allowed Sly to keep this one. These gadgets are also pretty nice for showing off the animations. Like, most games probably wouldn't be all that impressive if you slowed them down, but Sly 2 here is really nice with its animations. You don't really notice the amount of detail put into that, silent obliteration animation when you're playing in full speed, or if you're speeding things up like this. But here you get to see the full range of how the animations work. So not a bad gadget, at least for that purpose. Never really found a use for it though myself. There's the eagles here. They'll be present in all areas of high altitude. Watch out for them, of course. But I mean, at least they'll go after the guards.
It's good to see my arcade upgrade perform so well in the field. Now scout the area. I could really use the reconnaissance.
Oh boy, another recon job. Due to the way things are in this episode, or more specifically this job, I couldn't really cut out any of the bottle collecting and fine art, grabbing. So you're going to be seeing me collect about half of the clue bottles in this video. Maybe it might be useful for a guide, but that's not really what I intended to do with this. Yeah, what can I say about this map? It's... like before, this is not nearly as comfy as the train station. This place is a lot more dangerous, and that's without the, the iron horses. Those things killed you instantly, but here we are, more dangerous.
Fascinating. My sensors detect a Wi-Fi link to that boat. It must be piloted by computer.
And instead of iron horses, instead we got safety violations. There's a couple of these places here where logs are getting put out. Obviously you want to avoid them because it'll hurt. The economy is still as good as ever, if not better than the previous episode. Bison pays his guys real good here. In fact, I think he pays them better than the ones in the next episode. So if there's ever a place to, grind, here you are. Do it now.
John Bison's house. The lair of the beast. The den of evil. The epicenter of ecological destruction.
I don't know if you could really call that a house. As you can see there in the bottom, it's called a sawmill. I feel this is one of those prototype elements that did not change. How they just put some stuff in just for fun and make it a little more memorable for the depths to change eventually. But no. Oh, and here's one of the unique parts about this episode. These enemies hiding out in the outhouses. Yeah, they're a little busy here, I think. Yeah, that's stupid. Normally any other time, if you busted it open, maybe without getting caught by running around it, you would probably hurt the guard and hiding inside of it. If not though, then that can happen. So you gotta be careful around those outhouses. If you're running around them, you'll alert the guard hiding in it. And you better be careful with the hive mind, of course.
Those saw blades look particularly old. I guess this logging camp has been around for a while.
Yeah, well, safe as ever. I mean, the Canadians have some, safety codes, don't they? But I mean, if this is not present on any maps, maps that criminals would have, it's probably not too surprising that, the more important people in this country would not know about this logging site. Oh, and even this episode has bears, by the way. Still just as dangerous as ever.
This place is bear country, all right. Interesting. He's putting out a slight radio signature. Okay, that should do it. Now for the real point of interest. Head for that lighthouse and try to find a way to sneak in.
Not before getting some clue bottles, though. I mean, it cuts some time out whenever I do it here. Oh yeah, and even the bear can hear you collecting the glue bottles. And he'll also alert the hive mind, so gotta be a little careful. Fortunately though, the bear does not care much about the guards either, so if they're in the way, the bear will make short work of them. And I have no idea what that just was that exploded. But things don't seem to be ending well here for the guards, as they're dead, and the bear's doing whatever bear things do. Oh, and here's one of the weaknesses with the music box here. Fortunately, it's a little delayed, so when it mattered most, it didn't help me out. Except for picking this guy's pocket, though. At least if you killed this guy, I wouldn't have gotten a chance to, do that. Normally there's a rock here, by the way, but since I'm on the middle of the job, you don't get to see it. But I mean, I wouldn't be showing it off anyway, because that kind of requires not being on the job, and I don't want to waste time doing that. Anyway, on to the Recon. This is one of the more annoying pictures to take.
Just looking at that spinner makes me dizzy. That's the battery charger, but where's the battery arpeggios coming to pick up? I was right. The entrance is barred from the inside. Might as well get a shot of old Jean Bisson. Oh, Sly, listen in. He's mumbling to himself.
Come on, Jean. You got it in you. Those lumberjack games need some more competition, eh? What would attract the participants? Bullseye! I'll post the clockwork talons as a trophy. That should bring in the competition. Although, who am I kidding, eh? I'm gonna win just like every other year. Oh, it's tough being this tough. It sure is, yeah.
Head back to the safe house. We need to talk about these lumberjack games.
And that's it. Hope you enjoyed this part. On to the presentation.
Well, guys, Jean Bisson has unknowingly thrown down the gauntlet. With the clockwork talons as a trophy, we'd be fools not to participate in his lumberjack games. Fortunately, due to frequent avalanches, a log chopping guide was frozen in a wall of ice not far from our position. Sly, you're in charge of acquiring the book. I'm sure it will prove invaluable. Now, we're all aware that Arpeggio's blimp is coming to pick up another battery. To sneak aboard without incident, I'd recommend we pull a Trojan horse and stow away inside the battery. However, the location of the device is still a mystery. We need some inside information. So, working together, you two will infiltrate the Moose Guard's secret RC combat club. Those guys all work in the lighthouse. If you win the battle, I'm sure they'll talk. Despite his antique mind, Jean Bisson's no fool. To keep tabs on him, we'll need to bug his house, steal the radio tags off local bears, and then jerry-rig them into a sensor array. It's a challenging set of tasks, and that blimp's on its way. Let's get to work.